timeliness is important to the committee's work.
Are we talking days, weeks, months?
It's hard to predict. It just depends on how quickly this.
When's the election again? October. Pudding Cup. You know the answer. The answer's October. That's when the emails come out. How do you not know this?
This unfolds, how quickly the judge orders these reviews to be done, and then what teams are applied to be able to review them.
Let's turn to the Alex Jones news. It sounds like he was pretty unhelpful, pleading the fifth about 100 times, but we did learn.
Unhelpful? Fuck you. It is no American's duty to help shit. I was ranting about this, I think, the other day. We were talking about this Good Samaritan bullshit and this duty to help and all this stuff that people kept talking about. You're an American. You aren't obligated to help a goddamn thing. Fuck that. Do not help any of this tomfoolery, skullduggery, scumbaggery. The government doesn't need your help. They do not. This is not JFK days. Well, you ask not what my country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. No. Nope. No. Stop it. You don't have to help anything. They've got all of the power in the world right now. Our government has probably never had more power over its citizenry, and it has third-party corporate non-partners helping in the effort more than you ever could. Your emails, your private messages, your text messages, all that shit is getting turned over to the government at the drop of a fucking hat. You don't have to go help them do shit. You have constitutional rights. They can fuck right off no matter what any airhead bimbo at CNN has to say.
Learn about these emails, these text messages. What stands out to you?
Well, I think in his public comments, it sounds like he was saying that definitely this means the committee had access to his phone. That's not necessarily the case. The committee, the January 6th Committee of Congress, has had hundreds of people cooperate and provide information to them. So it could be, we don't know, and it'll be interesting to see how the reporting fleshes this out, but it could be simply that other witnesses provided communications that they had with Alex Jones. And so the committee then had the basis for that information to be
That's cute.
able to ask him questions.
It gives us a little peek behind the scenes in terms of their investigatory process. Thank you so much, Carrie Cordero. It's good to have you here.
Again, that's the deep analysis that we're getting. The high quality, deep analysis from the CNN legal expert. Well, they might not have had access to his phone. Sweetheart, it's the government investigating insurrection against the government. They have access to the fucking phone. They have access to the phone. And if you don't know this, they already have access to your phone. The only question is, are they going to use that access to convict you of a particular criminal act using the information from that phone to gather? And the reality is, if they're going to try and convict you of a crime, they're not going to use the phone angle, or they're not going to represent that they use the phone angle. They'll never tell you, and you'll never be able to get the information out. But they absolutely have access to your phone. I wasn't talking very loudly on the internet when the stories were running on this, but again, if you didn't pay attention to the Snowden leaks, I mean, the NSA is building giant server farms around the country to hold exabytes full of data, and those exabytes of data are text files, text messages, their metadata of communications. I mean, and the fact that there's exabytes of metadata and text messages themselves is terrifying. And they just store it all. They capture and store all of it. Not some, not most, all of it. It's all held on a server farm. And then what they do is, if they need a warrant they get a warrant that goes back. It goes backwards through time to grab communications that you had that they haven't reviewed. And that's their justification. And it's not me making this up. This is what they have said. They go back. They say, well, we collected it, but we're not listening to it. We're not monitoring it. We're not reading it. No one could. There's too much stuff. But when they decide that they want to target you, they go back into the data and then they pull it out and then they review it. And it's already there because they already captured it. Well, because we were looking for other stuff, but we just captured this stuff incidentally. And again, this is from the government saying it, not me. I'm like, they've been doing this for years now. For years, they've been doing this. This has been the practice. It was exposed. They were all hush-hush about it until Snowden came out. Then for a while, they were kind of brazen about it. Yep, this is what we're doing. Oh, we're going to revise some of these policies, blah, blah, blah. They're only supposed to be intercepting international communications between, U.S. persons and known agents of foreign governments. And then it was suddenly known agents plus three steps away from known agents, which encompassed 97% of Americans, by the way. That's 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon, but only 4 degrees to Al Qaeda. That's how it worked. That's how it worked. 97% of Americans were 4 degrees to Al Qaeda or whatever, or Hezbollah or whatever other terrorist fucking Muslim organization you wanted to pick. It didn't matter. And the government they didn't really care about that. It was sufficient that they got everybody wrapped in. Okay. And then they got caught on it. They got caught by Snowden. They got called out and they said, you're right. 3 is too many. We'll roll, 3 steps is too many. We'll roll it back to 2, which is something like only 68% of Americans now, as opposed to the 97. But the reality is they're still collecting all of it because they can't roll back the programs that are actually out there collecting it. It's just a giant skimmer running across the surface of the ocean, and what gets wrapped up and thrown in the compartment, that happens no matter what they do. They turn the program on. You can't turn it off because then we'd stop getting all that data on the terrorists. The terrorists. Your rights be damned. Your Fourth Amendment be fucked. And again, none of this is a secret or a conspiracy or a theory. You can find the government talking about it. Do they have the phones? Sweetheart, they have the phones. They have the emails. They didn't need to get them from some collaborator, or whatever you want to call them. They already had them. And they'll have them every time. What could Alex Jones say to the committee that they haven't already heard? Nothing. They don't need him to do that. They're just there to catch him in perjury. And if you ever get called before Congress, they're just there to catch you in perjury too.